salt is one of the 4 basic things people need. Our bodies need and acquire adequate amounts of salt daily. Salt's the second major constituent next to water in our body. The immune system can't function well without salt. The hormonal system can't function well without salt. And iodine can't work in the body without adequate amounts of salt. So I consider salt one of the basics. I check salt levels on every patient that comes in the door. I can tell you the vast majority are salt deficient. And so when I talk about salt, as I write about in my book, Salt Your Way to Health, there's good and bad salt. I would say an inadequate form of salt is refined salt. It's the little white crystals that we're all used to. Yeah. They fit in the salt shaker and they're real fine and they contain a little bit of iodine, but they only contain sodium and chloride, a little bit of iodine, and then they have toxic chemicals such as ferrocyanide. They have some bleach properties, bleach chemicals in them to make it white.
Make it white.
That's not a good product. A better product is unrefined salt, which has over 80 minerals in it, lesser amounts of sodium and chloride. It doesn't have a lot of iodine in it, so therefore you need to supplement with iodine. But this is a staple that people need in their diets. The adrenal system can't function well without salt, the thyroid system can't function well without salt, and the immune system can't function well without salt. And iodine works much better in the body with salt, as salt helps to usher out bromide and fluoride in the body while you take iodine.
Many diets that I've heard about, people that think they're getting healthy, they say, okay, I'm not eating any more salt. Not a good idea.
It is not only is it not a good idea, it's a disastrous idea. And eventually the adrenals get overstressed from this and don't function well. But it's not good for the immune system. It's not good for fighting cancer. Okay. And people need salt in their diet. You know, it's a staple. Human beings have needed salt since the beginning of time. We were designed by our maker to need salt.
Right.
How much salt? About a teaspoon a day for most people. The latest studies that just came out in New England Journal of Medicine verified what I've been saying for the last 15 years. You know, I blog about this and I write about it in my newsletter.
Yeah.
You know, as those studies came out, you know, you can look at the curves. It's very easy to look at them. You see high mortality rate on the low end of salt intake, and then it goes down. And it doesn't really matter how much salt you use. Maybe at very high rates, there's problems, but people aren't going to eat that amount of salt. They just need the right kind of salt, which is unrefined salt, such as Celtic brand sea salt, Redmond's real salt, the Himalayan salt. I've tested all 3 versions of those 4 times. I didn't find toxic agents, and I found adequate amounts of minerals in all of those kinds. I think those are very healthy forms of salt.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know too, because one of those, the Himalayan sea salt's what we use. So good to know that we're doing the right thing.
I think it's a good salt.
From that area.